More than 115 years after his death, William James is still one of the most loved thinkers in the world. Why? Because he didn't just write books. He taught us how to live, how to find meaning when everything feels empty, how to build character through habits, how to face uncertainty with courage. Tonight, in part 31, the end of chapter 6, you'll discover the life lessons that made him immortal, how his ideas on belief, habits, and human freedom still save lives, and the one message that will inspire you to live better tomorrow. This is the end of chapter 6. Stay until the end. His final legacy will stay with you forever. Chapter 6 continues to explore William James's lasting influence. By this stage, decades after his death, his writings had firmly established themselves in the intellectual world, and his ideas continued to inspire scholars, students, and general readers. James's approach to philosophy, psychology, and religion remained relevant because it addressed the most fundamental questions of human life. How should we live? What does experience teach us? How do beliefs shape our reality? One of the clearest examples of James's enduring legacy was the ongoing influence of pragmatism. Pragmatism, as James taught it, is the idea that the truth of an idea depends on its practical effects in real life. Philosophers and social thinkers began applying this principle to education, ethics, politics, and science. Instead of asking, what is truth in theory, they asked, what difference does this idea make in practice? This approach influenced generations of philosophers and helped shift Western thought toward a more applied, human-centered philosophy. In psychology, James's impact was equally profound. The Principles of Psychology remained a foundational text, studied by students and cited by scholars. His careful observations of human thought, attention, habit, and emotions shaped the emerging field of experimental psychology. Later psychologists built on his insights, exploring memory, perception, and consciousness with new methods. Even as techniques changed, James's attention to human experience continued to guide researchers, emphasizing that the mind cannot be understood purely through numbers or abstract theory. It must be studied through the richness of lived life. James's contributions to the study of religion also had lasting significance. The varieties of religious experience remained a standard reference for scholars studying faith, mysticism, and spiritual life. His approach was revolutionary because it treated religious experience as a serious human phenomenon, worthy of careful study rather than dismissal. By documenting personal experiences from many cultures and traditions, James showed that religion could be analyzed scientifically without losing its human and emotional depth. His work encouraged tolerance and empathy, highlighting the diversity of human belief and the personal meaning people find in spiritual life. Another important part of James's legacy was his focus on individual freedom and responsibility. He believed that human beings have the ability to choose their paths, even in the face of doubt and uncertainty. His emphasis on free will inspired not only philosophers but also educators, social reformers, and ordinary readers seeking guidance on how to live. His arguments supported the idea that people could act courageously, ethically, and creatively, shaping their own lives and contributing to society in meaningful ways. James's ideas also had subtle but lasting influence in literature and the arts. Novelists, poets, and playwrights admired his nuanced description of consciousness. His concept of the stream of thought influenced writers who experimented with narrative forms, capturing the flow and complexity of human mental life. His work showed artists that inner experience could be a subject worthy of attention, providing a bridge between psychology and artistic expression. The combination of philosophy, psychology, and religious study in James's work made him a rare figure whose influence was multidisciplinary. Scholars increasingly recognized that he could not be confined to a single field. His insistence on observing life carefully, considering consequences, and respecting human experience provided a model for anyone seeking to study complex questions about mind, behavior, or society. James's human qualities were also central to his legacy. His humility, curiosity, and compassion were evident in his writings, letters, and lectures. He treated students and colleagues with respect, often encouraging those younger than himself to explore their own ideas. His personal warmth helped make his philosophy approachable and relevant to a wide audience. Many people remember him not only for his intellect, but for the way he listened, encouraged, and inspired those around him. In addition, James's writings encouraged critical thinking. He challenged dogma, whether religious, scientific, or philosophical. He asked readers to question assumptions, examine evidence, and weigh practical consequences. At the same time, he did not dismiss the human need for meaning, hope, or spiritual connection. By balancing skepticism with empathy, James offered a model of inquiry that respected both reason and experience. Even today, more than a century after his death, James's work continues to be cited in philosophy, psychology, education, and religious studies. His books are still read, his essays are discussed, and his insights remain relevant for anyone interested in understanding human life. New generations of thinkers discover in James a guide to living thoughtfully, exploring questions openly, and embracing the richness of human experience. Chapter 6 also emphasizes that James's legacy is not just academic. Ordinary readers find guidance in his writings about coping with doubt, making decisions, and facing uncertainty. His practical wisdom, combined with his deep respect for individual experience, provides a source of comfort and inspiration. His insistence that belief and action can shape reality resonates with anyone trying to make sense of their life and the world around them. In summary, William James left the world an extraordinary body of work. He combined careful observation with deep philosophical reflection. He explored the mind, the heart, and the soul, asking questions that remain central to human life. His influence continues in classrooms, laboratories, religious communities, and libraries. His vision of an open, flexible, and humane approach to understanding the world continues to inspire those who seek truth without sacrifice and compassion. Chapter 6 shows that James's life was not only remarkable for what he studied, but also for how he lived. His example demonstrates the power of curiosity, empathy, and courage. Even in his final years, facing illness and mortality, he remained committed to understanding and to helping others understand. This combination of thought, action, and humanity ensures that William James remains a lasting and influential figure. The philosophical and human lessons of William James's life. Chapter 6 continues by focusing on the lessons drawn from William James's life, emphasizing both his philosophical ideas and his human qualities. Even as decades passed, scholars, students, and ordinary readers found his approach to life, thought, and experience to be a model worth following. One of the clearest lessons from James's life is the importance of curiosity and lifelong learning. From a young age, James explored many areas of knowledge, including medicine, physiology, psychology, philosophy, and religion. He refused to be limited by one discipline. This openness allowed him to make connections others often missed. In his later years, even while suffering from illness, he continued reading, writing, and reflecting on the most difficult questions about consciousness, belief, and human experience. His dedication reminds us that intellectual curiosity is a lifelong journey, not a temporary activity. Another lesson is the value of practical thinking combined with idealism. James believed that ideas should not be judged only by abstract principles, but by their consequences in daily life. Yet he did not abandon idealism entirely. He believed in striving toward deeper truths, ethical action, and personal meaning. This combination of practicality and vision allowed James to address real human problems while remaining inspired by higher goals. Readers learn from him that thought and action must work together. Understanding must guide practice, and practice must inform understanding. James's life also illustrates the importance of resilience. He faced depression, nervous strain, and severe physical illness throughout his years. These challenges could have ended his work prematurely. Instead, he persisted. He adapted to his limitations, found ways to continue teaching, writing, and thinking, and maintained intellectual and emotional engagement until the very end. His resilience demonstrates that personal difficulties do not have to prevent meaningful work. Instead, they can inspire new perspectives and deeper reflection. A central human lesson from James is empathy and respect for others. He consistently valued personal experience, whether in students, patients, or religious seekers. He listened carefully, respected differing viewpoints, and encouraged individuals to explore their own experiences. This attitude created an environment in which ideas could flourish, and it allowed him to build relationships that lasted a lifetime. His empathy reminds us that understanding others' perspectives is not only morally important but intellectually enriching. James's work also emphasizes the courage to embrace uncertainty. He never claimed absolute knowledge. Instead, he examined ideas critically while remaining open to new evidence. He acknowledged doubt and ambiguity as natural features of life. By accepting uncertainty, James encouraged others to explore, question, and experiment. This lesson is especially important today, in a world where certainty is often demanded, but life itself is complex and unpredictable. Another enduring lesson is the integration of science and human experience. James respected scientific methods and valued careful observation, but he also believed that numbers and experiments could not capture the full richness of human consciousness. He argued that feelings, beliefs, and subjective experience are crucial for understanding life. This integration helps modern thinkers see that empirical study and humanistic reflection are complementary, not opposed. James also modeled ethical engagement. He believed that ideas must lead to responsible action. Philosophical reflection, he argued, is incomplete unless it helps guide living and behavior. In this way, his philosophy is deeply practical. It reminds us that thought is connected to life, that ideas influence our choices, and that thoughtful action can improve both our own lives and the world around us. His work on religion offers another lesson: respect for diversity and belief. James treated religious experiences from many cultures and traditions with fairness, curiosity, and humility. He did not insist that one system of belief was correct. Instead, he explored the personal significance of faith for individuals. This approach encourages tolerance, open-mindedness, and the recognition that human life is enriched by multiple perspectives. James's life also highlights the importance of balancing work and personal life. Despite his relentless intellectual energy, he valued family, friendships, and the simple pleasures of everyday life. Letters and memoirs reveal a man who delighted in conversation, nature, and shared experiences. Even while facing illness, he maintained these personal connections, showing that a fulfilling life includes both thought and relationship, study and human warmth. Finally, James teaches us the lesson of legacy and influence. By living according to his principles, curiosity, compassion, resilience, and respect for others, he left an enduring mark on multiple fields of human knowledge. His influence grew after his death, demonstrating that a life devoted to thoughtful inquiry and human concern continues to resonate long after the person is gone. This reminds readers that the impact of a life is measured not only in personal achievement, but in the ideas, inspiration, and support one leaves behind. Chapter 6 emphasizes that the lessons of William James's life are not only intellectual, but also profoundly human. They guide readers in how to approach knowledge, relationships, ethics, and personal growth. His example encourages a life of exploration, courage, empathy, and purpose. Through his philosophy and his lived example, James continues to teach lessons that remain relevant in the modern world. William James left us a complete guide to a meaningful life, but his most shocking ideas were still hidden. The forbidden experiments with drugs that proved his philosophy, the secret crisis that tested everything he believed, and the one idea that made Einstein call him America's greatest mind. Chapter 7, Part 32 drops tomorrow, 8 p.m. sharp. Subscribe plus bell on. The legend continues.